Welcome, Risers. It's that time once again for the Agent Rise podcast. I'm your co-host, Neil Mathway, joined by TJ McGraw and a very special guest in Eric Rorvig, a good friend of mine from Madison, Wisconsin. He gets AI. He gets it, and he's diving into it, and he's learning, and he's applying, and he's teaching. And AI, for a lot of us, is something that is kind of scary and kind of new, and how do we use it in our businesses? And I love this naturally happened. Eric is also a lender in Madison, Wisconsin, where I used to sell a lot of real estate back in the day. And Eric and I have remained friends over the years, and we were just having a conversation about AI and how we were applying it. And he was just blowing me away with the knowledge that he had. So I said, Eric, you got to come to the summit, man. Like this, we got to be talking about this stuff. So in this episode, Eric is going to share a lot of what you're going to hear in the episode he's going to say at the summit, I'm going to be sharing this. Well, the summit is already passed. We're sorry. This is one of those other episodes that we didn't get out in time before the awesome summit that we had. So everything already happened. You missed the summit, and you did miss one heck of a summit. Eric, who you're going to hear from here in just a little bit, and his partner Dan Bartleson joined us at the summit and blew our minds. And he, you know, when you think about AI here, I think a lot of us can let this kind of freak us out. And what you're going to hear on today's episode is that AI can be your friend, it can be your partner, it can be your tool that you're using. And I'm seeing in my life, I am using it in so many different ways. Like my mind is now going to AI before it's going to Google. My mind is now thinking about, every time I have a problem that I need to solve, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about what is the prompt that I can use right now to help me solve that problem. Instead of just trying to solve the problem, I'm thinking in prompts. And that's what these gentlemen's business name is. That's a really good name too. So, but they're helping me think in prompts. So I'm not going to talk anymore here. Let's bring on Eric Rorvig. So here is TJ McGraw interviewing Eric Rorvig.
All right, I'm excited to be here with Eric Rorvig. He is, I would say an expert compared to everybody else probably that's listening to this podcast interview. Eric is an expert in artificial intelligence and how to use it, how you can apply it in your business. It's often shrouded in mystery. It is for me, that's for sure. So we're going to get a little tidbit of it today from Eric, but make sure you book your tickets to come down to the summit. He's going to have a talk with he has a company that helps people use AI, and he's going to have a talk with those guys, and he's going to tell you more. I'm going to let Eric introduce them. They're not on the podcast today, but they will be at the summit. So I said, let's dig right into it. So Eric, man, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about this, your talk, because it's like the hot new topic, and it's like the new thing, that everybody's like really curious about, but might be hesitant to use. So your talk is called "Riding the AI Wave Without Wiping Out," which is kind of cool. Very fitting for Fort Myers and the paradise that we'll be in next to the ocean. So give us the cliff notes, man. What's the summary on what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so we are going to be talking about how to integrate your business. Well, even beyond your business. I know that we're coming down to talk about business, but even beyond your business, how to use artificial intelligence to enhance your life, your business, your time efficiency, and really just how to start, right? Because I think that's the number one issue with everybody is like, there's so much, how do I even begin with this? So that's first and foremost, that's what we're trying to accomplish, is to get you to just start.
Just start. That's the key to everything really, is just get started for sure.
Right.
So don't give away the whole talk, obviously. But we can sit here forever and for all day long and talk about this. What are some of like the key points that the audience is going to get?
Yeah. So we'll talk about, what is it first and foremost, because nobody knows what it is. We won't get into super deep detail on that because that's a little overwhelming, I think, for a lot of people. But what is it? What are its limitations? How can you be a part of it? What can you do, as far as use case wise to help yourself and help your business? And like I said before, it's not just for business, it's for everything. And then sort of talk about like, where is it evolving to as well, and what we can maybe expect moving forward in the future. But I think that the biggest thing is the uncapped amount of ideas that you can put in with having literally no compute experience. One of the things that people talk about all the time is like, well, artificial intelligence is going to kill creativity. And you're completely wrong. I mean, will it hurt certain sectors? Like if you're making digital art, is it going to hurt? Yeah, for sure. But your ability to create has now actually grown probably 1,000,000-fold because you have these tools that you've never been able to use. Like I've never been able to utilize some of these tools, right? And like, I can jump in and just use them right away with very little barrier to entry or very little knowledge.
It's more of we had a little conversation beforehand, and it's the way you were describing it is complements your ideas and your creativity rather than taking over or stifling it.
So I think the term artificial intelligence is a little bit misleading because artificial intelligence isn't intelligent. It doesn't think on its own. It has parameters to thought. It's really the way you should think about this is an intelligence amplification. So any thoughts that you have already, you can amplify your ideas and your wants and your desires 1,000,000-fold if you wanted to. But you just have to learn how to just get in and start using it, interacting.
That's an amazing way to think about it. Because you just addressed like a huge question and probably one of the fears that most people have of like AI, and it's a cliche kind of now, but like AI taking over the world.
Yeah, the Terminator.
Yeah. Oh,
the Matrix.
Yeah, we're not even close to that yet, and it probably never come. It's not. Like you said, it thinks in parameters and it just amplifies, and it's great. I'm gonna have to say because it completely aligns with Agent Rise coaching because we're about simplifying and amplifying, and this is like the epitome of simplifying and amplifying. So I'm glad you said that and phrased it that way. It's like boom, a little light bulb went off in my head for sure.
And I think that the important period and the way that to allay people's fears the most about this stuff is like, when you build these AIs out of this, in the business, they're called large language models. There's an M, right? So those are things that take in your natural language. So how you read and write and talk. And then they can turn around and put it through to compute and spit it back out and talk to you. So it's a literal conversation that goes back and forth. They have pre-trained parameters around what they can and can't do. Now you can see some things. Sometimes they'll do some stuff, and you're like, "Oh my god, it has to be alive. Like it has to be. There's no way, right?" But it's not. I promise.
Yeah,
because you'll see it do something incredible, and then you'll ask it to do something simple, and it won't do anything.
Yeah. Oh, I've experienced that before. So before we go too much further, let's talk about like what is artificial intelligence and kind of where does it come from, and just give us like the basics on where it comes from. What is it?
So like a super brief history sort of thing.
Yeah, you can start there. Yeah, for a brief history because it was because AI has been around for a lot longer than we think it's been around. Like we just haven't been talking about it as much.
Yeah, it's been around basically since World War II in some form or fashion. So there's a guy named Alan Turing. Some people have heard of him, some people haven't. They made a movie about him called The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch in it. He made this massive computer, I guess you could call it, or AI tool. Now, some people wouldn't say it's AI, but it computes. And so like a computer, as you know, it is essentially an AI. It's just not what we call a generative AI, which is what we see now. They've been around a lot. Microsoft Word had that little paper clip at the bottom, Clippy. And Clippy was an AI tool that was made to pull from data within Microsoft's corpus of data and only give you answers about stuff like that.
Yeah.
You go to some websites, there are little chat bots on there. They've been around forever. I mean, it's been around. It just hasn't exploded the way that it has now because it's never been something that has been, quite honestly, where the barrier to entry has been as low as it is right now.
Yeah. Most definitely. And even if another thing that comes to mind, like if you go into the cell phone store and you put your name in, it gets you into a queue automatically without really having to have an interaction with a human. That's AI. So AI has been around for forever and ever. So what's where does it come from though? Like when I put a prompt in to ChatGPT, for example, where does it get all that information from?
Right. So ChatGPT and these large language models have trained their large language models on, they call it trained it, which means they've given it a bunch of information to be able to pull from. The simplest way to think about this is imagine like this infinite library, right? And so if you go to the librarian and you say, I want books on X, Y, Z, well, the librarian is going to tell you where to find them typically. But in this case, the librarian at almost exactly the speed of light can go and find all the books and bring them to you and then summarize them all for you. So everything is in there. So that's why it's also really important. Don't put any don't put your social security number in, and don't put personal information in, and proprietary data, because once you put everything, your username, so let's just talk about ChatGPT in particular, right? Mm-hmm. So when you sign up for a ChatGPT account, so now there's a book of TJ, and everything that TJ does goes into that book. Hmm. So that's also trainable data. So if somebody else has some reference to TJ, it can go into your book and find the information in there. So it's really important that you don't put it in there.
This is Eric. This is supposed to not. You're supposed to alleviate fears.
No. This isn't. But this isn't a fear. So this is one of these things where you just be smart about it. Right? Just don't put stuff in there.
Yeah, and let's not be naive. If you have a cell phone, your data is being tracked. I mean, everything you do nowadays, it's being tracked. So it's just a part of life. I enjoy the ease that it brings, and if you're smart about it and just don't put personal information in, then it's going to be a helpful tool and not something to fear.
And just back to the library analogy, right? So there was an original corpus of information, corpus meaning just a broad chunk of information that they put in there. And then every time that somebody reacts, it puts more information into the library to be able to read. So it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. The more people that are in, the more information it has.
Interesting.
And I think ChatGPT, I think, is now pre-trained is through August of 2022, although I could be wrong about that. And then any new information would come in via, specifically the ChatGPT 4.0, which has internet capability. So every time it interacts with the internet or with you, it pulls that information in. So now it's in. Huh. And that's how it grows continually.
Amazing. My mind is blown.
It's a lot to think about for sure.
It is. So what are the that's a good place to segue into my next question here. What are the challenges you see? I know you're in the loan side of things. We're talking to a lot of mostly real estate agents. I mean, we do things that are similar a lot. What are the challenges that people run up against besides the overwhelm is the obvious one, and the fear of the unknown?
That's certainly number one is overwhelm, right? Number two is that they started using it. They signed up for an account and they used it once, and then they were like, well, this is trash output and I don't like it and I'm not going to use it anymore. So, which I think you find with any new technology, right, is that the people that go in, they sort of test it out a little bit. They don't fully understand what it is. And then they're like, well, it didn't do exactly what I thought it was going to do. And so therefore it's garbage. This is a new technology, right? This is not like the internet 3.0. This is not Microsoft coming out with a new program. This is something completely different. So for what we talk about, it's important to get people to stick with it and learn how to interact with it. At least, if nothing else, on a base level, have some base knowledge of how to do it to get the output that you want. That's certainly number two. And then number three is if you can allay the first two, how do you get it and implement it into your own life? Because the overwhelm, by the way, carries through all the other stuff too, because it's still overwhelming. The more you learn, the more you're like, oh, Jesus, there's so much information.
The more there is out there. Yeah. The more I learn, the less I know.
So that's a natural thing to feel. I mean, I've been doing this for about 2 years. So, I wouldn't necessarily call myself an expert, but a super user, maybe. I feel the same way all the time. How do I oh, Jesus, I learned all this stuff. How do I bring it into my life, bring it into my business and apply it? How do we make it work? So that's a perfectly normal. You're just gonna feel it. It's just gonna have to be something you're getting used to.
I mean, on a primal level, our brains are not designed to hold that much information at the same time. So that's just an inherent, I think, part of all of this. You have a success story with this. We were talking earlier. You've done something pretty cool. So tell what's a actual application that is fairly easy that we can apply in our business.
So, the original question that you asked me when we were talking before was, do I know any agents that have like some huge success stories? And I don't. But I do. I was saying in my own life, on Monday of this week, I had a conversation with one of my AI platforms called Pi. Pi is a voice to text large language model. And what that means is I can talk to Pi and it talks back to me just like you're talking to a person. It's actually, out of all the stuff I've seen, that's the one that blows my mind the most because it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, on a regular basis, I'll go home to my wife and be like, I can't believe this stuff exists. I can't believe this is so wild. So what I did was I had an idea, which I have tons of ideas all the time. And I was able to say like, well, how do I get things to be more efficient for myself and my team in the mortgage space and my loan officers too? How do we get them their information faster? And so what I came up with is I'm building a mobile app that's going to be available only for people that work for me. That is going to be able to pull data from our project management system where all the loan data is, specifically with deadlines and notes that we need to make. And it's using the same text or the same speech to text program that Pi uses. And so they'll be able to go in on their phone, hit the app, and then say, give me an update on the Smith loan. And it'll go and start talking to them and tell them exactly where it is.
Wow.
And you can talk back into it and it'll put more information back in the other system. Now, so this sounds like a simple transfer of data, but like that's an astronomical amount of work that's work.
I don't mean to interrupt, man, but if my loan officer like cued me in on that app, that'd be amazing. Because I'm constantly like calling, like, where are we with it? Did you get the documents for this? Where are we?
Yeah. If we have, after we test it out a while, if it seems to work, we'll certainly make a realtor facing version of it as well. But for right now, it's just for the people internally.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to code and I don't know how to build anything. So you could say like, well, how do you know how to build it then? Well, on Monday, I had a conversation with Pi. It was about an hour and a half long. And we talked about how do I build this? How do I take this idea from here and get it to here? And Pi and I had the conversation and we came up with a framework of how to build out the application. It told me which programs to use, which coding language to use, and, how to use ChatGPT to write all the coding, and how to use PowerShell to put everything else, and how to use GitHub to store it all, and which servers to put it on, and like the whole thing. It sounds like a lot. I'm saying a lot of stuff here, but it like a literal line by line instruction manual for dummies on how to build their own program.
And what you're saying, what I heard you say, like, it's a lot of stuff, but you didn't know how to do this on Monday, and now you're putting it into application on Friday. Like that's amazing.
And it's Friday, and I'm about 60% done.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. So for any agent out there listening, like if you have an idea, because we're idea people, we have ideas, and there's a gap between our idea and then implementing our idea, and a gap between like, is this even a good idea? And then when we get busy and like we were talking about before, like leads, transactions, appointments, like that's what, if you can help me do that, if AI can help me do that, then I'm all for it. So it can. And
it can absolutely help you do that. Right. But this is one of these things. And I think this is so different than anything else as far as the technology goes, because every solution to the problem that you have is a personal solution. Right? Like in the past, we've been like, well, buy this CRM or do this thing and like you'll have all the success, right? And then you find out that there's this massive atrophy of people that fall out because they can't make it work for some reason, right? And their reasons are their own reasons. But with this one, if you can figure out how to work it for yourself, like you can solve your own problems. You can literally solve your own problems.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to, there's somebody else that can help you solve your problems using the same stuff. Right. So like, I get it. There's going to be a chunk of people that are just like, I'm not interested because it's just too much. I can't take it.
For sure.
But that's fine, because then there's people like myself who I'm more than willing to help you solve your problems.
Yep. Yeah. That's amazing. Man, I'll tell you, my mind is spinning right now with ideas. over this. It's just, I see what a huge tool this could be. And after speaking with you, knowing that just the story from Monday, you didn't know how to do it. Friday, you're 60% done with it. And you're probably next week, you're going to be testing it in implementation in like a live with your team. That's,
I hope so.
Like, I love that stuff because it is, I'm not sure. Do you know the book, Who Not How by Dan Sullivan? You ever heard of it?
I do know of it. I have not read it, but yeah.
The gist of it, and anybody out there that knows of it hasn't read it, it's about like finding the who instead of asking the what or how can I do this. Find like who can do this to help me. Who can I find that will help me get this done? Well, now that question is completely answered. Like you just the app on your phone. What was it? Pi? Just open up Pi and say and ask them like fix this for me, kind of thing. I'm simplifying it a lot, but that's in essence, that's what it is.
100% accurate. It's spot on to what it is, right? So when we're at the summit, we're talking. I don't think as a part of the presentation that we're going to actually talk about this sort of in-depth stuff, but find us afterwards, and we'll talk about a lot of stuff that you can implement straight away. And also, we do consulting coaching. That obviously it costs money, but we do it to help out with this stuff because we know it is a massive undertaking, or it seems like anyway, a massive undertaking to be able to get it to work.
I'm just going to let AI be my coach. No, I say it's tongue in cheek, but that's kind of like what we're sort of talking about. But I would definitely recommend it if you don't know anything about it and you're really like oftentimes it's that we have to coach to the fear and the overwhelm, not to the actual doing the thing. So that's where you guys have been doing it, practicing it. You've found some of the glitches or whatever, and you can give somebody's learning curve a lot faster. So it's a good. Who are the other guys that are going to be with you?
Yeah. So our company is called Think and Prompts, and when we talk at the summit and we give a presentation, if you're there, you'll understand exactly what that means. Website's thinkandprompts.com if you want to go there. Dan Bertelsen is another part of this. Dan is the owner, CEO of Remax Preferred here in Madison, Wisconsin. So we get that realtor angle in there. He's been practicing real estate for a very long time. And then Eric Townley owned a marketing firm called Flamingo Theory Marketing. He operates that out of here. But Eric has worked for General Mills and Apple and some of these huge tech companies and being able to marketing. So he understands that part of it. And I know the questions that we're going to get, right? Because we're talking about real estate is how do we market better? How do we get more leads? How to close more deals?
Yeah.
Right. That's the focus.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, we'll certainly touch those things. I think the two of those will have some definitely more input on a lot of that stuff. But what I would love for people to start thinking about is how do I ideate? So how do you come up with your own ideas to solve your own problems? It's a mindset shift. It's not as simple as being able to go into ChatGPT and say solve my problems, because then it'll be well, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Tell me, But then we can help put that into place.
That's just to go beyond. I'm going to go off. I'm going to sidetrack for a moment because I tend to do that.
Yeah, sure.
What I'm thinking is if one of the biggest problems in my personal life, my family, my kids are both in sports, they take music lessons, they're Girl Scouts. It's all over the place. My wife's busy. I'm busy. So just our schedule alone, Google schedule helps, but it's not it'd be great if there was some kind of tool that we had that we could all an app on our phone that we could all tap into and have better communication over what's happening, because it's all well and good, but the schedule is it's right in front of me for that day. And I'm not really thinking about next week all that much. I mean, you have to be intentional about doing that and going and looking at it next week. So just figuring out how to solve communication problems within the family to keep your family running more efficiently. And I think adding other things in there, with groceries, and it just seems it's endless as far as the possibilities. I think is my point here of the problems in your life that you can solve, that you think about and you have ideas how you could solve them, but it's the implementation always seems to be elusive.
Yeah. So for this one in particular, I would tell you to go into chat. So pay for 4.0. So that's number one, because it'll help you a lot more. The 3.5, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but ChatGPT is a free version, 3.5. It's about 13% of what 4.0 is. So if you go into if you pay, it's $20 a month. I know it probably seems like a lot, but you'll get way more output than that $20 a month. Put it in, just tell it where your problem is. Say, find me a solution. I don't know what the solution is. Find me a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Then basically what you're telling me already, I know that solution exists because I've seen other people use it.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, I mean, all that stuff is out there. And there's a very good chance that if you go into ChatGPT and put it in and you're like, I have this problem. How do I solve this problem? Give me like 10 ways I can solve this problem, which don't ever tell it 10 ways. It'll give you some horrible output, but like be a little more creative in how you structure that. But it'll tell you a bunch of different ways and then just keep drilling down in each point. I know that one exists.
Nice.
I know that one exists. And it's fluid too.
Beautiful.
So if you needed to like reschedule or shuffle your day around to make it more cohesive for everybody, it can do that as well. The function can.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to definitely dig into that. That's a sidetrack there, but
yeah.
to apply it to like business and all that, like you can just communication with your clients and putting together like you built an app in a week, 5 business days. If you can build a really simple app that you can give to all of your clients to download that just keeps them updated on the progress of the transaction, or where you are in your search for a home, and then once you get under contract, and it just keeps them updated, and then like even adding video into it. I mean, it's just now like the possibilities are absolutely endless. All those conversations that you have over and over and over and over again with different clients, but it's the same conversation. Theoretically, build an app that has all those conversations for you, and then you really have more time to serve them, by doing what you do best and like negotiating and all that.
So I think now that you're saying this, it's giving me a thought too. So one of the simplest solutions, and we can talk more about this again at the summit, is building out what's called, a chat bot. So you can get your own personal chat bot. You put on your website, you can put all these questions. So you're talking about like, what's the list of questions that everybody asks all the time that I'm sick of having these conversations about? You do it, you can put the answers in there, and we can plug that into the back, and you can have your own chatbot and your own website that people can go into and have the chat with them straight away, and you don't have to address those questions.
Yeah.
And the implementation on that is like 3 days.
Amazing. And you can even have it in your own voice too, probably, right?
You can absolutely have it in your own voice and your own avatar. Take pictures of you, and you can do that, which that's a whole separate.
Yeah. You could make video. We know that, I think it's pretty common knowledge, but not everybody might not know that you can actually take pictures of yourself, record your voice, and then you can make videos without having to record videos.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing to me as well.
So yeah, that's a whole separate ethics question.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah. And that's another thing I think about. I'd love to dig into at the summit. It's like especially with an election coming up, we get down some rabbit holes. We can definitely. I'm starting to see a bunch of squirrels.
Billion rabbit holes. Billion of them.
So let me ask this to kind of bring it back in. What's one thing, or what should somebody do today to really start implementing it into their business? Like, is there a simple step that they could take?
Yep. So I'll give you 2, but they work together. So one is sign up for an account, and whether that's ChatGPT or whether that's Claude through Anthropic, or Google has one called Gemini. There's actually 56 large language models that you could plug into currently. Pick one, doesn't matter which one, just start using it. And second thing is have a conversation with it. Don't put in a question or tell it to do something and then get mad when you don't get the response that you want. If you don't get the response that you want, tell it you didn't like the response and we need to figure a different way out, and talk to it. I know, like, I don't mean like necessarily like literally talking to it, but talk to it on the keyboard. Some of them can't do it. Some of them have no voice interface at all.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to type it out.
Like you're texting,
type it out.
Like you're texting a very knowledgeable friend.
Yeah. It's the smartest friend you've ever had in your life. Right. So I actually circling back to something else. You were talking about, like, at the beginning, we were talking about like the fears of it taking over at some point. Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it's really dumb actually. So it's extraordinary. Back to the point is it's the most knowledgeable person you know. It knows everything, but it can't think on its own. Like, it needs you to tell it what to do all the time. So I think that's a really important aspect of it, is because put it this way, if you turn your computer off and you don't talk to it, it doesn't do anything.
Good point.
You turn your computer on, you tell it what to do, and it does stuff, right? That's the big part of this.
Yeah. It's really just a bank of information, an enormous, like almost infinite bank of information, because it's always being added to, that you can pull from. And it gives you, you like you said, you have to tell it what you want, and it goes in, pulls the information and spits it out to you.
Exactly.
Simply.
In that infinite library that we were talking about before, right? It's all in there at some point. All the knowledge that you need to do whatever you want is all in there already.
Beautiful.
It's just how do you get it out and how do you apply it?
Yeah. So you're just saying, like, number one, just start. Like with anything in life, like just start. Just mess around with it when you have some time. Instead of scrolling TikTok, just start download ChatGPT.
That too, right? I mean, we all do that stuff to like sort of decompress. You just watch something else.
Yep. Just practice.
But just start and start using it use it for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like use it if you have the paid version of ChatGPT. It has internet access. Don't use Google anymore. Use it for that.
There you go.
There's actually a number one we affectionately call the gateway drug. It's called Perplexity.
Okay.
Perplexity is a search engine and an AI all in once. So it's it can do the search engine thing, but it can also sort of do the AI thing. So if you're not ready to jump into ChatGPT right away, or one of the bigger large language models going in there and still having that search functionality, you can do it that way too.
You know what? I just thought of a question, because I'm seeing this bunch of squirrels now. But so I'm an agent and I have a website, and I want people to go to my website and learn about me, search homes and all that stuff. If they're not using Google to search for real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're using ChatGPT, like how do I buy a house? And ChatGPT is just answering them with the steps to buy a house. Like, and where does that? How do I fit in? Like, how can I get in there? Is our website's going to be obsolete? Like, where do you see that? Where do you see that going?
No, I don't think websites will be obsolete. I think the SEO that Google has dominated, SEO, for those who don't know, is search engine optimization. That's how when you go to Google and you say, I'm looking for homes, it pulls up a ranked version.
Mm-hmm.
Ranking means how many people have looked at it and how many people have interacted, and those go to the top. I think that algorithm which Google came up with and people using Google dominates so heavily will change. I think that'll be rewritten. And when I say rewritten, I don't mean Google's going to actively rewrite it. I think it's just going to be rewritten as a part of just how it comes together.
Yeah.
I think that websites will still exist. They'll be a little more interactive and a little more fluid all the time. So you won't necessarily have static ones. In fact, I've heard but not seen yet a bunch of websites that already have some what's called Python coding, which is a specific type of coding language that's built into these so that it'll read. So TJ, if you go to my website, and I have this built in, by the way, it's not in my website. So if you go to my website, it's not going to be there. But conceptually, this is what it is. If I have this code running in the background and you visit me once, the cookies that it collects, so that's also in web browsing. When you go into something, you leave a cookie and it remembers the next time you come back. That cookie is going to remember how you interacted with my page, and it's going to dynamically change the page so that the next time you look at it, it's going to be specific to you.
Wow.
And your interaction.
That's awesome.
But it's coming. I mean, there's tons of companies that are already working on this. So if you get more, I mean, if it was just me working at it, I had a company, it would take a long time to hit market. But if you have a bunch of them doing it, I bet by the end of 24, we'll have that.
Yeah.
That'll be
well, yeah, that's, I know, I can't tell you how many times I've been to a website and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great piece of information. I get distracted and I close out my browser, and the next day I come back and now I'm searching for this one piece of information that I was like the one piece of information that I was interacting with on the website. I have to go back and start over. So if the website was like, hey, you were pick up where you left off, here's where you left off, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I think we'll see a little bit. I do think we'll see a spike in chatbots and websites as well. In fact, on my website, this is real. I do have a chatbot on my website, and it does pick up the last thing that you interacted with. So if you go into mine, it pops up, says, hi, this is Eric Rorvig's assistant.
Mm-hmm.
What can I help you with? And if you interact with it, it'll remember the last time you came in.
Yeah.
So we'll see better, more dynamic, more fluid versions of that before we see this, like the super interactive website itself.
Yeah. So I had Facebook's Messenger bot connected to my website.
Yeah.
But what this will do is I can have total control of my own. I can make my own chat bot and have total control over it. Because of course Facebook is going to have everything that was said back and forth. They're going to have record of that, whatever they do with it, to send advertisements our way. But so we can make our own bots, connect them to the website in a matter of like very, very simple, because now we have a tool that's going to just help us, give us the steps like 1, 2, 3 to do it.
Yeah. But there's a lot of like right now, TJ, you could go out today and there's a lot of what they call no code bots that you can purchase. Like you can purchase these sort of like general frameworks and you can put them in. You could in 2 hours have it on your website.
Okay.
It's just, where do you pull the information from? So does it pull from your website? Are you going to give it additional information to pull from? That's going to be like, that's called training. Like, how do you train it?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like, what's the knowledge you're going to give it? So the more dynamic the website, the more information that comes in, the more cookies that are in, the more dynamic that the chatbot gets as a result.
I love it. Well, before we go back to confusing everybody, because I think we did a good job of bringing everybody in and telling them how simple it really is. Like I could definitely confuse the audience all day long here with this, but so if you have questions, I'm sure if you're like me, this conversation has sparked questions. Book your ticket to the summit, come down. You're going to listen to Eric, and Dan talk in depth about this. And then the best part about it, you can get them in between sessions, at lunch, when we're all hanging out afterwards, maybe in the morning having some coffee, and you can pick these guys' brains. That it's going to be like just that is worth the ticket alone, I think, for sure. So I'm excited to do that. And I promise I won't monopolize all of your time by asking all the questions, because I could.
Well, that's what we're there for, right? We're there like not only to promote what we're doing, because we enjoy doing this as well outside of our other jobs, but obviously we're there to help. So find solutions, and maybe we're not the solution, but at least we can put you in the right direction.
Awesome. Too. I love it. Well, thanks so much, man. I can't wait to meet you in person at the summit. It's been a great conversation with you today. I hope that the listeners got some good info out of it. I hope we didn't overwhelm anybody more. That's definitely it's the main theme. If just to reiterate, is that AI is a tool to make your life easier, not to be afraid of it or overwhelmed by it. And I think just one, start like anything, get started like you said, and then just play around with it. Like those are, if you do that between now and the time you go to the summit, you're going to be you're going to have a ton of questions, and you're going to have at least 3 people there to answer those questions for you. So excited. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, my pleasure.